This is Tim.
I'm Mulele.
And this is Critiquing Comics. Welcome to Critiquing Comics. This is Tim with Mulele in Tokyo on Skype. Our first show in 5 weeks. So, how are you doing?
I'm okay.
Yeah, we've been kind of away because I was putting out a lot of bonus Deconstructing Comics episodes from my trip before they got too stale. That's the problem with building up a bunch of episodes. Then they sit in the can for a long time, and then I'm afraid they're going to get out of date. So,
oh yeah.
But yeah, anything new going on comics wise?
Not really. Still trying to get through Mindgator 2. Man, this is taking forever, and it looks like it's coming up on a year. I'm feeling horrible about it, but sometimes life kicks you in the nuts, and then sometimes life kicks you in the nuts so hard you have to learn how to walk again, and that's kind of where I'm at.
Okay.
But it's finishing soon. I've called the money over from the States, so I'm looking to print. It is my hope to have it ready by the middle of November, like printed and getting ready to be sent out. But that's all I can really say.
Okay.
Hope.
All right, that's good. Well, as long as I don't see you publishing a Kickstarter video where you're setting all your books on fire, like that other guy did.
No. I'm more of the silently plod along, don't update anybody on what the hell I'm doing, and then suddenly, far later than anybody expected, just saying, "Oh, here it is, I'm done." So that looks like what it's going to be.
Okay. All right. Well, so we've got a book that's been in the queue for a while here. So Kristin Tipping, who did Evil Witch Alley, which we talked about some months ago, and who I got to meet in Minneapolis, she sent us this comic called Ferocious Five, which she's the artist on, and the writer's name, I'm looking at her email. Oh, Jason Vandervort is the writer. So this is kind of a superhero story. It's just a 10-page teaser PDF that she sent us. And so there's this villain who I gathered his name is the Cricket, who wears this kind of insect-looking mask, and his henchmen wear sort of half masks that just cover the top half of their heads. And he robs a bank. He steals particularly like these certain jewels from this one safe deposit box. And then the hero comes in, who is called Hellhawk, which sounds more like a villain name, but he's supposed to be the good guy.
It's hell for the villains.
And within this teaser anyway, the Cricket gets the last laugh. And presumably as this is a teaser and all, this is just kind of the beginning of the story. But it sort of has a resolution for, within this 10 pages, kind of the end of the first episode. So yeah, this is kind of entertaining. It was fun. What did you think of it? I thought it was fun.
It ended kind of abruptly, and I was a little bit, wait a minute. We need a little bit more here. I was also kind of, I don't know what the right word here is, worried about the design of the Hellhawk. Because he's very, very close to the Blue Falcon. A little triangle on his chest, a little BF on it, it would seem appropriate. I thought maybe the character design needed just a little bit more work there. But, I mean, for the most part, the story flows fine. the characters are established pretty easily. We get a sense of who they are very quickly. The only two things that I thought needed a little more development, or needed to be a little different. Number one is the abrupt ending. I know it's a teaser, but there seems to be no hint at a progression of character here. That they are this way and they will stay this way. The cricket is smarter. The Hellhawk is a little bit gullible and so straight-laced that he hurts himself. Yeah, I felt it needed just a little bit more, or at least to show the start of a progression, rather than the let's do this again sometime ending that it had. I wanted more. And perhaps more comes in the actual comic, actual full-length comic. Sorry, I don't know if you can hear the sirens behind me.
Yeah, I can.
Okay, I live between, conveniently between the police, the fire department, the post office, and the hospital. So sirens may go off. Yeah, I wanted just a little bit more development in the characters, or at least the beginning of an arc. If this is the setup, I think we needed a little bit of a launch before it ended. The other thing is that I kind of felt that the writer isn't quite taking any of the characters seriously. Now, mind you, I do understand that this is a comedy and there is a little bit of goofballery involved in here, but with comedy, for me anyway, I feel like having these goofy things is fine, but how the character sees themselves, how the world sees them, showing that dichotomy is, I think, fine, and that's where a lot of comedy comes from. But the writer seems a little less ruthless, or takes them a little less seriously than he or she should.
The writer, yeah.
Yeah, a little less ruthlessly than he should, or a little less seriously than he should. In that, and when I say ruthless, I just mean that, pull no punches with them, make them suffer, do all the things you have to do to get your story across. But there seems to be a little bit of a lack of that, and I think that's where the problem of there being no arc, no character development comes in.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the only two problems I have with it. Everything else moved fairly smoothly. Everything was straightforward.
Kristin's drawing this feels to me a much different way than she's drawing Evil Witch Alley.
It's very simple, but it I don't know. I kind of feel like she's coloring with the grays. Sometimes it has a little bit of a painterly style to it.
Yeah, I mean, just the figures. I mean, she's doing a whole different style of art here.
Yeah.
Which generally works. I don't know. There were some panels that I felt like had too much white space. Mm-hmm. I'm looking at page 5, the center panel, where the cricket is pushing, I guess that's Mr. Wilson, out the door towards the car, and there's, I mean, a lot of the panel is buildings which are all white.
Yeah.
And so it just feels kind of empty to me.
I see.
But I mean, she probably could have zoomed in a little bit more on the figures in the panel.
Mm.
But yeah, I mean, it's like I said, a very different style for her. Mostly it's good, but
Yeah, I think the other comic that she did, sorry, title,
Evil Witch Alley.
thank you, is a bit more detailed, a little bit more finessed than this one. This one seems to be much more of simplified, very much simplified comparatively.
Hmm.
Or at least that's my take on it based on my memory of Evil Witch Alley. Um, and I don't know what the uh, decision making process behind the production of this book was versus the other book, but I mean it seems purposefully simplified. Um, like she wanted to say something with this simplification.
Maybe.
I'm not sure. It could be just as simple as, I don't want to spend this much time doing a superhero book in color, and doing it at the same level as that. But it seems to me that from the get go, there was no drop off where you suddenly say, okay, she's gonna settle into this art style. No, from the beginning, she's like, okay, this is the style I'm going to do it in. This is the way I want it to go, and she kept it very, very simple. There's some points where I think she may have uh, made slight alterations to the style, to um, as she kind of got used to it as she went through the story. But I think for the most part, that was uh, the style choice was kind of set from the beginning.
Yeah. Now I'm looking at her email. This is the beginning of a graphic novel. Perhaps they're planning to print it. She said he was planning to do a Kickstarter for this in August. See, this is the problem with asking us to review stuff to align with your Kickstarter, because we usually don't get around to it that quickly.
Yeah.
It's a mistake. I mean, on our website we say don't do that because we can't make you any promises. But let me see here. So yeah, they didn't make it. They only got about 10% of their goal.
I see. What was their goal?
Their goal was $10,000, and they got to 1,090.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know that reviewing it on Critiquing Comics would have gotten them to their goal, but anyway. So hopefully they can try again, get a few more backers. Yeah, but I'm thinking maybe it was black and white because maybe they're planning to print, and color would be more expensive.
Sorry, I'm seeing that the Kickstarter is in Spanish.
I don't know why you're seeing that. I'm seeing it in English.
Okay, I don't know why mine is in Spanish, and all the surrounding details, like all the stuff that's filled out by Kickstarter is in Spanish, but the actual parts that they wrote are in English. That is.
Are you logged in?
Yeah, I'm logged in.
Well, maybe your account set to Spanish or something.
It's like, hey, we thought you'd like Spanish better. Here you go.
Hablo
Yeah.
español.
All of my information is in Spanish. Jeez.
Okay, so but yeah, I don't know that there's anywhere that we can link to other than the Kickstarter itself, which doesn't have any of the comic on it.
I would hate to feel that, or I would hate to think that this is a failed comic that we're reviewing here. I don't think it has the type of problems that would stop it from being a success. I think $10,000 is a bit heavy for a graphic novel.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not exactly someone in the know. I've never actually. That's not true. I did try to. Yeah, $10,000 is a bit much for a graphic novel. I would say about 4,000 or 5,000. But the regardless of that, I don't think that this book should fail there. They should continue, but how they're planning to continue, I don't know. Talk to artist name. Thank you. And ask her about it. Ask her what the future of the comic is. I don't know. Maybe she has some comment she wants to drop on this.
I guess I see that. Yeah, on the campaign page there are some drawings here, so I will link to this so at least people can see some of the comic there.
Well, actually, from September 4th, there's a what's next post on the Kickstarter itself. It says, so the funding for Ferocious Five did not go through. It's a bummer for sure, but it doesn't deter me one bit. And I've been talking with Kristin and Learmas, I don't know. I guess I could.
Oh, that's you're Spanish. Yeah, see more.
Okay. Yeah. I'm talking with Kristin. Decided to do a little renovating on the project. We've learned that trying to release the whole project in one big chunk was a bit ambitious for us, so we're opting to divide the story up into several issues and to also do them in color. I'll be meeting up with Kristin later this week to fully go over the changes we'll be making. I want to keep you all in the loop while we rework Ferocious Five. So here's the link for my page on Facebook, and then you use a link for that.
Okay, so there's our update then. They're regrouping on this.
Yeah, and at the end it says, thanks so much to each and every one of you who supported the comic. We're going to make sure that Ferocious Five is made and that everyone who's believed in it will get to hold it in their hands. So perhaps another Kickstarter coming soon, but for a slightly different colorized version. We're looking at the black and white version, by the way.
Right.
So yeah, it doesn't die here, and it should not. I would just like to see a little bit more of a character arc.
Okay. Yeah, so it sounds like it's going to be a little bit more of a Mind Gator approach as you're doing individual Kickstarters for each volume of the series.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, but I wouldn't recommend doing a Kickstarter and then looking at the material that you've generated for the comic and then deciding it's not good enough and then revamping the entire thing. It takes a little bit too long. I thought I was 70% done. Actually, I was about 5% done. So, and actually, it does seem very much like they're kind of in the same bag. They're looking at revamping the entire thing. So who knows how long it'll actually be before this is ready, but hopefully they won't follow the Malele timeline.
Okay. So your advice is basically don't do what I did.
Oh, no, it's fine to do what I did. Just do it faster. That's all I'm going to say. Do it faster. Because, I still got episodes 3 and 4 to look forward to. My mother is saying, like, oh, so it'll be about 2 years then? It's like, no. but I can't say for sure. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So if you'd like us to critique your comic, you can send a PDF or a link to mail@deconstructingcomics.com. We'll read at least 30 pages of it, and we'll talk about it here sooner or later. That's the problem with taking time off. I mean, then the queue sort of builds up. But But we get to everything eventually. Definitely. Okay, so till next time, this is Tim.
I'm Malele.
And thanks for listening to Critiquing Comics.